Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Madhava Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe. Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe. Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada. Gaur Pimanandi. Jai Vishupad Paramahamsa Pri Vrajgasaj Stotra Satya Sri Srimad His Divine Grace Shirabai Charanarvind Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Skandiviti Founder Charya Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Samavata Bhakta Vrinda Ki Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Grantaraj Bhagavatam Ki Jai Nitai Gaur Pimanandi. All glories to be assembled devotees, all glories to be assembled devotees, all glories to be assembled devotees, All glories to see Guru and to see Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Sarakaya Taksuranmiritam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Parakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavam Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahaganam Ragunatan Vitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Dalita Sri Vishakanditam Scha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Taptakanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Suti Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhu vyaivacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Narayanam namaskritya Naram chaiva narotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, let us first offer our respectful obeisances unto Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta Prayeshabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Tamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. By regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering a service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome within the heart becomes destroyed or practically to nil, and loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahmasamitam Uttama Shloka Charitam Chakara Bhagavan Rishi Nishreyasaya Lokasya Dhanyam Swasyayanam Mahat. This Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Grantaraj, the king of all Vedic literatures, is the literary incarnation of God. It is compiled by the incarnation of God, Srila Vyasadeva. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Surabhyay Namaha. Om Surabhyay Namaha. Om Surabhyay Namaha. Mukam karoti vasaram pangum langayate girim yat kripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Vinataranam. Yat kripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Vinataranam. Hare Krishna. Welcome to our morning Bhagavatam class, continuing from Canto number 1, chapter 18, which is entitled Maharaj Parikshit, cursed by a Brahmana boy. Text 32. We read 31 yesterday. Tasya putro titejasvi viharan balako arbakai rajnagham prapitam tatam srutva tatredham abravit tasya putro titejasvi viharan balakor bhakai rajnagham papitam tatam srutva tatredam abravit tasya putro titejasvi viharan balakor bhakai rajnagham prapitam tatam srutva tatredam abravit tasya putro titejasvi viharan balakor bhakai rajnagam prapitam tatam srutva tatredam abravit
Tasya putro titejasvi viharan balakor bhakai Ragnagham prapitam tatam Shutva tatredam abravit Tasya putro titejasvi viharam balakor bhakai Ragnagham prapitam tatam Shrutva tatredam abravit
Tasya putro titejasvi viharam balakor bhakai rajnagham prapitam tatam shrutva tatredam abravit Tasya putro titejasvi viharan balakor bhakai Ragyagam prapitam tatam Shrutva tatredam abravit
Tasya, his, the sages, putraha, son, ati, extremely, tejasvi, powerful, viharan, while playing, balakaha, with boys, arbhakai, who were all childish,
who were all childish,
Rajna,
Rajana,
by the king,
by the king,
Agham,
Gam,
distress,
distress,
Prapitam,
Prapitam,
made to have,
made to have,
Tatam,
Tatam,
the father,
the father,
Srutva,
Shrutva,
by hearing,
by hearing,
Tatra,
Tatra,
then and there,
then and there,
Idam,
Idam,
this,
this,
Abravit,
Abravit,
spoke. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. The sage had a son who was very powerful, being a Brahmana's son. While he was playing with inexperienced boys, he heard of his father's distress, which was occasioned by the king. Then and there the boy spoke as follows. Kindly repeat after me. The sage had a son
the sage had a son
who was very powerful,
who was very powerful,
being a Brahmana's son.
being a Brahmana's son.
While he was playing
While he was playing
with inexperienced boys,
with inexperienced boys,
he heard his father's distress,
he heard his father's distress,
which was occasioned
which was occasioned
by the king.
by the king.
Then and there,
Then and there,
the boy spoke as follows.
the boy spoke as follows.
Report. Due to Maharaj Parikshit's good government, even a boy of a tender age who was playing with other inexperienced boys could become as powerful as a qualified Brahmana. This boy was known as Sringi, and he achieved good training in brahmacharya by his father so that he could be as powerful as a Brahmana, even at that age. But because the age of Kali was seeking an opportunity to spoil the cultural heritage of the four orders of life, the inexperienced boy gave a chance for the age of Kali to enter into the field of Vedic culture. Hatred of the lower orders of life began from this Brahmana boy under the influence of Kali, and thus cultural life began to dwindle day after day. The first victim of Brahminical injustice was Maharaj Parikshit, and thus the protection given by the king against the onslaught of Kali was slackened. Translation again. The sage had a son who was very powerful, being a Brahmana's son. While he was playing with inexperienced boys, he heard of his father's distress, which was occasioned by the king. Then and there the boy spoke as follows. Very nice expression is being used, well, a few of them actually. Prabhupada refers to, although not mentioning the word varnasrama, he speaks about cultural heritage of the four orders of life. Very nicely presented. In the Bhagavatam, in one place, Prabhupada translates the word varnashrama as divine culture. It's a culture. What we need to understand and what we need to convey to others also is that this divine culture of varnashrama is not, we say it's a material arrangement, but it's a divine, it's saturated with divinity, we could say, because there is not only varna but ashrama, number one, and secondly because it's created by Krishna. So this cultural heritage, very nice term, UNESCO uses that term also. They select different places in the world as cultural heritage, like in Cambodia, Angkor Wat, cultural heritage. Um, even different places, many countries, probably most countries, like Sayadri in South India, where we have a center, but Sayadri goes for very long. I think Sayadri covers about 4 or 5 states. Also declared as cultural heritage. So the very unique feature of this cultural heritage, well, yeah, in reference to the 4 orders of life or the Varnashrama system, is that this is an eternal culture. Very important for us to try and grasp the the meaning of this. Although around the world in different countries, there are so many cultures. Kazakhstan has their own culture. Hungary has their own culture. Canada has their own culture. But actually, there is one unique and universal and eternal culture, which is actually Vedic culture, and which is to be known and experienced and understood through that eternally created system of Varnanashram, which is meant to be actually helping the conditioned souls, which is meant to be helping the vast majority of living entities in the material world are conditioned, isn't it, by the modes of material nature. And therefore that is meant to help individuals develop the other eternal culture, the other eternal spiritual culture of the soul, of the Atma. So in other words, there are 2 parallel type of eternal cultures going on. Most people in the world are totally unaware of both. In Kali Yuga, especially, it's a very sad situation. So one of the features of that eternal culture is being nicely mentioned here, that someone who was trained as this young boy, Sringi, even at a very young age, could become very powerful, as will be described in the verses, in the next verse actually. Simply by uttering mantra, he will, as we know, he will be cursing Parikshit Maharaj to die within 7 days. So Brahmanas had that type of power because mantras, mantra, what is mantra? Mantra is sound vibration. There are material sound vibrations and there are spiritual sound vibrations. Talking about brahmacharis. Brahmachari color. Today you have brahmachari color. We're talking about brahmacharis. Came at the right time. Adding a little bit more color to our surrounding. Yeah. So this divine and eternal culture that Prabhupada refers to in the purport as cultural heritage. We're doing text number 32. Is a culture that needs to be reintroduced. You know, when we speak about reestablishing Vedic culture, that's what we mean. Reestablishing Vedic culture without this heritage of the four orders of life. Cultural heritage of the four orders of life. This is one instance, one instance, and there are many, where the word varnashrama is not used, but varnashram is spoken about. Yeah. So in other words, when we do a search in the database, and there are, I don't know, I counted 1,700 something. I mean, more than just one or two or 10 or 15. There's like close to maybe 2,000 direct uh, references to the word varnashrama, what to speak of the word varna, what to speak of the word ashram. And then also it's written in different ways. And then there's references like this one, which does not even mention, it mentions orders, four orders. Well, obviously, four orders means varna and ashrama. So, this is, Prabhupada points out in the purport, this is the beginning of the degradation because of the influence of Kali. Prabhupada mentions that the degradation is starts with the brahmanas through this small boy making or creating a gap or a difference, creating actually animosity, creating conflict, creating a clash between the orders, which has unfortunately continued to this day, isn't it? The whole, well, people refer to it as the caste system, and there's been a lot of, nowadays we don't use that expression too much, but a lot of ink has. Because previously people used to write with ink. Now we type away on the computer. But a lot of ink, a lot of time, a lot of papers have been written on this whole subject matter, especially just before the independence of India, because that was a big, major point of contention, which people in India, some of them, not all I suppose, but more people in India obviously know about this than outside of India. That whole cultural, we could say debate, whole cultural debate was there between two prominent personalities. And that debate continues today, actually. And it, in one sense, I never knew about this particular, I would say it is a significant text that most devotees should know about if one has not yet read. And the title of that is The Annihilation of Caste. You're familiar with this?
Is it by Dr. Ambedkar?
Yes. Yeah.
He was definitely very influential. He coming from what is considered as caste.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
went on to write the Constitution of India, was educated at Yale, and he was completely against. He converted to
Well,
Buddhism.
yeah, the the position that was taken in that particular document, which is in many ways very similar to what many people in the Western world, because actually it was reflecting Western ideology. Um, Ultimately, in just religion, as we know, there are so many um, documents and so many people have spoken about this. If we look at all the different wars in Kali Yuga, just stick to Kali Yuga, majority of wars that have taken place have been due to religion, differences of religion, and as Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur would say that religiosity without philosophy leads to fanaticism, and different wars based on religious differences have been fought and continue to be fought to this day on different aspects of fanaticism. Therefore, the um, the Bhagavatam is that literature, especially, which which is actually, if one gives proper attention and soberly considers what is presented in the Bhagavatam, because savai pumsam paro dharmo, it is savai pumsam for all of humanity. Uh, one who is even slightly sober minded can should accept uh, the the basic and universal principles of dharma, and which actually go beyond the different religious beliefs and sentiments that are contained in different religions around the world. Or put in a different way, there is one universal religion, which many people actually from different, we could say, denominations also can begin to accept. What is a universal religion of the world? It's the universal principle of love. No one will deny. Of course, people may have different definitions or understanding of what love actually means. For a materialistic person, love is very uh, focused on material things, basically sense gratification or kama, lust. But we use the same term also as devotees, as transcendentalists, that love, yeah, love means something that is beyond the selfish uh, desire for personal sense gratification at the cost, at the cost of others. Love means actually projected towards another living entity, namely Krishna, without haitukiya pratihata, without material motivation and without interruption. So this is the great. Um, I mean, uh, this is being referred to here in a few places, although a relatively short purport. But Prabhupada makes very nice statements here. But because the age of Kali was seeking an opportunity to spoil the cultural heritage of the four orders of life, the inexperienced boy gave a chance for the age of Kali to enter in the field of the Vedic culture. Nice expression also, the field of the Vedic culture. So we have, of course, everyone in one sense also says the same thing. Ours is unique. We have the way. Christianity is the only way, and practically all the religions in the world, but one has to look at it uh, very closely to find out, well, what is actually the true way or the true um, the true religion. But religion actually is not uh, sufficient, is not satisfactory. Rather, as Prabhupada so expertly was able to do, what did Prabhupada so expertly do? Of course, he did many things. Maybe it's not a right question in one sense, but one thing which he did so expertly and which he continues to do through his books, especially, is that he was able to convey the whole, very deep and full, which is still actually not fully understood, even within our own uh, society. He gave the full, we could say, spectrum of, uh, I thought he was in deep meditation. He gave the full spectrum of what is dharma. I mean, no one else really had spoken about dharma before, or not properly. They spoke maybe about the word dharma. Even in India, largely the word dharma is like not properly understood. It's like it's dharma is our Hindu religion. Krishna is our Hindu god. And Prabhupada, in so many places, lectures, Krishna is not a Hindu god. you know, I never taught, Prabhupada is telling me, I never taught my students that Krishna is a Hindu god as it is explained in dictionary. Krishna is not a Hindu god. Krishna is God, for a universal God. There's only one. If God exists, and He does, then there's only one God, and He's the same for everyone, although He may be called different names. So it becomes, I would say, it becomes even more. Well, it becomes even more exciting and more interesting, more attractive. I would even say it can only become it it will only become more interesting, more attractive, and more complete when in the equation or in the understanding of dharma we insert and include, have to, this cultural heritage, as Prabhupada nicely puts it, cultural heritage of the four social orders. Didn't Prabhupada say that our movement is not only a religious movement, but it is a cultural movement? Didn't Prabhupada also say that um, he spoke about cultural conquest? Cultural conquest. This movement is meant to spread all over the world as a cultural movement that will conquer the world through culture, through this combination, this very uh, very deep. It's a very deep subject matter of the spiritual and material culture, because when we speak of the four orders, we're speaking about material things, material sciences, isn't it? The Chaturvidya, Chaturvidya, four Vedic sciences. So when we combine these two together, then it becomes very interesting, because both of them, it's like sometimes, I mean, that's what happened uh, in terms of history. Soon after the disappearance of Lord Chaitanya, the whole teachings of Lord Chaitanya, they went off track, and the whole thing became like Sahajism for a very long time. And in many ways, if we're not cautious even now, because even during Prabhupada's time, when Prabhupada first brought some of his uh, white dancing elephants, as he put it, foreigners to India. Some of them, when they first discovered Vrindavan and, Babaji life and so many things, even during Prabhupada's physical presence, he lost a number of disciples, and that trend is there um, in various writings of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and I think there are many places in Harmonist or Sajjana Tosani, there's a lot of emphasis and warnings, of the dangers of that. And what can be and should be helpful to prevent that from happening is to introduce and to understand that whole dimension of this cultural heritage of the four orders of life. Prabhupada say four, there's 8 orders actually. Prabhupada mentions the 4 orders for referring to the Varnas specifically because the the animosities, especially in the Varnas, right? Brahmanas and the Kshatriyas, etc. We don't find that so much in the ashrams, right? I mean, so so Prabhupada kind of summarizes at the end of the purport here how the first victim of Brahminical injustice. So in one sense, it started with Brahminical injustice by this young boy, Sringi. The first victim of Brahminical injustice was Maharaj Parikshit, and thus the protection given by the king against the onslaught of Kali was slackened. And as they say, the rest is history. And continues to this day. And that's the tremendous, really colossal challenge. And unless we see it, unless we understand it as a challenge, but a challenge that devotees are ready to take because, why? Because Krishna is on the devotee side. The Pandavas were outnumbered in terms of soldiers, phalanx on the battle of Kurukshetra. But, Krishna even gave all of, just imagine.
Yeah, his own entire
all of his army he gave to Duryodhana. Unthinkable. Who today, which president in which country would give all of his army? Isn't it?
to the enemy.
Right? To the enemy, yeah, right. Here, you take me. I'm here.
If a president did that, then all the people will go crazy.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Well, all the people are mostly all crazy, but they would become even more. Yeah, unthinkable, huh? But Krishna did it. The choice was there. Whoever comes and sees me first in the morning, you have the first choice. You can choose between me and my army. And Duryodhana was very happy. Yeah, Krishna, what am I going to do with Krishna?
Without weapons, that too.
Yeah, without weapons, not fighting. Krishna, who's not going to fight. That's only in Mahabharata. Huh? So, since you missed the text, this was the text. 32, the sage had a son who was very powerful, being a Brahmana's son, while he was playing with inexperienced boys. This is interesting, actually. Why is it mentioned inexperienced boys? Because boys are inexperienced. by nature. What's the word that makes one no longer inexperienced? Mature. Yeah, it's natural that a young boy is less mature because he's a young boy. He's lacking experience. So lacking experience means inexperience means lacking experience. So therefore, he acted, and this will be pointed out by his father also. You know, uh, you you did the wrong thing by cursing such, even though he did something unexpected, unusual, by putting a garland, the wrong garland. Should have been a flower garland, but it was a snake garland. Still, you should not have cursed. You should not have. You have misused your Brahminical power, and that started the whole animosity and rivalry, which continues, and that's why Prabhupada emphasized the need and the importance, um, and he told that to his American disciples. I want you, my American boys and girls, you know, you should know that by reestablishing the Brahminical culture and the Kshatriya culture here in America, if you do this here in America, the whole world will be saved. It's a tall order. It's a very tall order. So, who are the two countries in the world that are best suited for saving the whole world?
India and America.
Yeah. Why?
One's line and another's lane.
Yes. What does that mean? Huh?
America does not have the knowledge.
Yeah, America does not have knowledge. In India?
Has knowledge, but many people do not know.
And also India is lacking. Prabhupada says actually India was never meant to be like industrialized.
He made an interesting comment when he was waiting for an Air India flight and was delayed quite a bit. And he told his secretary, India is not meant for all this
Yeah, right.
and automation.
Yeah. Or as they say, India time.
India time, yes.
Yeah.
Stretchable time. Indian
Stretchable time. Yeah. Well, Prabhupada mentioned, yeah, India was not meant for technology, for that kind of technology. Meaning, because modern technology is destructive technology. It's people, they call it hard technology.
Shai Jagato Ahitam.
That's referring to hard technology.
It says the demons, they are always innovating and creating things, but which are actually meant for destruction.
Meant for destruction. Yes. It's not that Vedic culture is against technology, but it's against this kind of destructive technology. So they make the difference, between hard technology and soft technology. Yeah, taking bulls for plowing, that is called soft technology. Taking a huge tractor is hard technology. Yeah, because in hard technology it is, number one, very expensive. Secondly, exploitative, very harmful, destructive. Yes, so many people. It's like in America, you can't work. Like if we had to follow American standards to do our construction here, everyone had to wear a hard hat and boots. Can you imagine all the Indian people wearing hard hats and boots? What they do in cities, I suppose, but like in village, Can you imagine somebody going up a coconut tree to get a coconut with boots and hard hat? It's not
You
done.
need a crane. A crane will lift you
Yeah,
up.
yeah,
I've
right.
seen
Yeah,
that in
yeah.
Florida.
American technology. You know, you spend like $500 to get a 10 rupee coconut.
You don't get permission to build this temporary structure. They say this is not suitable for human habitation.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes. Well,
In America, they won't approve.
yeah, correct. Yeah, the Hulk. Yeah, right. Yeah. So,
Many questions.
well, your hand is not up. But
Either way is fine.
yeah, it's okay.
So, first of all, there is a previous statement that Kali could be there where someone is doing this for sinful activities or involved, but how could Kali enter into the Shringi's area where there was no such activities performed? So how could the first influence of Kali, how could affect the boy who was not sinful? He may made sinful curse, but before that was influenced by Kali. How could influence Kali? Someone who is living in a ashram, Brahminical culture. So what is the reason? Do you know anything about that?
I think
Oh, yes.
2 words. Krishna's will.
Krishna is
Krishna's will, he's saying.
will. Yes. And
The
second,
pastime and
Yeah, that's correct. I
Yeah.
had another answer. This is from Bhagavatam. In the earlier verse, it says Dambas Maya Sangha. These three things, they destroy the 4 legs of dharma. And when those 4 legs of dharma are destroyed,
Mm.
then that's the gateway for Kali to enter. So Damba, right? So Dambas Maya Sangha, right? There were 3 things that were mentioned
which
in the
means
earlier chapter when we are reading 4 legs of dharma. They are destroyed by, one is association with women, right, which is one of the sinful activities, and then one thing that is mentioned is dambha, ego, pride.
right.
So that Brahmana's boy was influenced by dambha.
Mm.
You know, I'm Brahminical, you know, I'm a Brahmana, how come Kshatriya who is lower than me could behave in such a way?
Dare to do this.
So that's the gateway for Kali. That word came right now, Dambas Maya Sangha, right? 3 things are mentioned, if I remember. In the previous chapter.
Prabhupada also mentions how the moment Krishna left the planet, the influence of Kali
Right.
entered. So the influence of Kali was already there in subtle ways, and it was just looking for an opportunity to manifest. And because he was a young boy, inexperienced, he overly reacted, we could say, and he had a right to be upset, but his father chastised him. You didn't have a right to curse, and to give that kind of curse, heavy curse, curse somebody to die, especially the emperor of the world. It's not just any person, and not just any king. He's the emperor of the whole world. So it was like the atmosphere had already started to become polluted. The early beginning of Kali, and Prabhupada uses this example as being actually the first incident where Kali actually manifested itself through this boy, because he was lacking in experience, and he misused his Brahminical power. And that immediately started to create, which increased over the years or centuries, this rift between Brahmanas and Kshatriyas. Yes.
So this particular incident specifically mentions how it increased at the beginning of Kali Yuga. It seems that rift was always there, and then previous Yuga, uh, during the time of Parsuram, Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains in Chaitanya Siksamrit that Parsuram was the first one to claim Varna only on the basis of birthright. That was the beginning of perversion of the Varna system, and the Kshatriyas got frustrated that there was no chance for someone born in a Kshatriya family to become a Brahmana if they had qualities, and so they all took to Buddhism. And the Vaishyas got frustrated similarly because they didn't have upward mobility, then they became Jains.
Right.
So both Jains and Buddhism, they're atheistic philosophies with some connection with Vedic culture, but they don't accept the Vedas and they don't accept the Varna system.
Right.
And then that was the beginning of
Yeah, it's interesting how Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who was, he's a scholar, right? And he studied he studied history, and he studied different books and whatnot, and he writes makes such kinds of interesting comments as only an acharya can. So these are symptoms of how, like, one of the major symptoms in Kali Yuga is that things become more and more separated, more and more divided. Just like physically also, like India became divided, even present states are getting divided. Right. Division.
Families are getting even more nuclear.
Which?
Families.
The
definition of nuclear family is getting even more.
Well, in America especially, it is accepted and known as well that there's a whole, practically the whole, what we call family nucleus is practically destroyed. And that's why to reestablish, there are living entities wandering around. That's why I have to make noise, or you have to cover. So that so that's why I forgot my point now. Yes, family, back to family. That's why Prabhupada it's also emphasized. That was one of the major concerns of Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita, right? That women will be unprotected. And that's why to reestablish our Vedic culture, which begins actually in many ways with recognizing the importance and the role and the position of this cultural heritage of the four orders, Varnashrama, then central to that is family. So therefore the importance of training, especially the men who are meant to actually give proper protection and guidance to the women. Because it is the husband, it is the father, and the eldest son who are meant to give that kind of guidance and protection to women. So that's part of the major challenge that we have, actually, because in so many places the Varna Sankara, the whole society has become Varna Sankara, totally dismantled practically in terms of the Vedic norm, in terms of the concept of family life. Prabhupada would say, actually, speaking to his American disciples, your understanding of family is different from in India. In America, it's like when Prabhupada went to America, the concept of family life then, and it has changed, of course, was husband and wife and children. Now, we won't get into it, but
And they teach from a very young age what a family could be.
yeah,
It's
right.
extremely hard
Yeah,
in
yeah, yeah.
schools.
I mean, it's off the charts.
Yes.
Other question is that, according to my understanding, when someone is reaching the age of going to Gurukul, they are sent to Gurukul. But here we heard that his father was the teacher of this boy.
Ah,
So is it not a cause of?
see, Gurukul means the home of the
Home of the
teacher,
Guru.
the home of the Guru. So his father was a Guru.
Guru. He's already a Brahmana.
Yeah, but fathers not necessarily can teach their sons in the same way as
No, can.
students, because they have more attachment for their own son. Like Drona have too much attachment to his son.
That danger is there, but actual Brahmana will be aware of that and will be cautious not to give favor to his son. But it's not uncommon that because they are the qualified individuals, the brahmanas, and very often they would have their own children, and if he starts a gurukul, then his son would be there also. Now we don't see that so much happening because there are practically no such qualified brahmanas. I mean, where are the gurukuls within amongst our devotees? We don't see practically. I mean, just we're having a hard time just understanding what that means, and therefore we don't have many examples of that. But so yes, normally one would send the son unless one is himself a guru and a teacher able to start a gurukul. So if I'm a brahmana and a family, because this is something else we don't know or understand so much. Most of the gurukuls were grihasthas.
Right. And it's just a home, as you said. Home
Yeah, it's a home.
Guru. It's not an institution or,
Right. Yeah,
like
there were some, and there can be some, but
yeah.
probably the majority were ordinary homes of brahmanas who, brahmanas were given land, were given cows, they had some basic facilities, they could accommodate, some brahmanas were having maybe more facilities or whatever. It varies, just like we have different educational institutions. Some are very prominent, some are very prestigious, others are just very small and maybe less known. A lot depends on actually on the qualification of those who are teaching, or those who are like guru for that particular ashram, whatever like that. So yeah, family. So family values and family. I mean, just the basic concept of family life. And that's why also Prabhupada emphasized the importance of the samskaras, because the samskaras, especially the Garbhodana samskara, is what will enable families to produce qualified children, children who will be able to take up nicely from even before being born. They'll be exposed to the Vedic culture in different ways.
Another question is that, is it do we know know something about the standard life of gurukuls in that Vedic system? Because we see here that young boys, inexperienced boys, were playing without any adult around there, and the teacher was in trance, means he was taking himself out from the world actually consciously. So is it normal that the teacher is allowing the inexperienced boy just being alone?
Yes,
It's not a mistake.
children will not play if the teacher is there.
So they're allowed it to go and
Yes,
play by their own.
yes. You know,
Krishna
when
was
Krishna and
not-
Balaram were going, they were on their own. They were, and
But
they,
they are not in a Gurukul, but in Gurukul, I mean. Because Krishna and Balaram is not in Gurukul in Vrindavan, but when they go to Gurukul,
there are two types of school in the Vedic culture, and we don't understand this actually. There's two types of school. One is a Gurukul for the Brahmanas and Kshatriyas,
Yes.
and the other is school.
Home.
Well, yeah, but home, but not home, in the sense that
Everything around
they stay at home, but their school is actually
the entire world around them.
right.
yeah, I understand that, but we are speaking about the Gurukul for Brahmana boy. Maybe there are some Kshatriya boys, we don't know, but it's a Gurukul.
No, but you were talking about playing.
Yeah, but they're playing in Gurukul situation,
Yes.
not in a home situation.
Well, children don't play at home. They go out of the home.
I mean, they are in a kind of different situation than just being in a family life. So naturally, children go out and play when they are living in family. But when they go sent to Gurukul,
They also play. Why? Because playing is part of the education. Playing is education. Um, Playing, there's a whole psychology involved actually in playing. So even Gurukul boys will play. Uh, um,
could you find the Shastra for what to
it's right here.
teach?
This verse. This verse is telling
I
that
mean,
the
what
Brahmana.
to play for Gurukul boys?
It's here.
Yeah,
This verse is telling that this Brahmana boy was playing.
But what?
Huh?
But what?
But what?
What was playing?
What kind of game
I
is
thought
that?
you're playing.
Oh,
It
I
could be
mean,
anything. It could be anything.
well,
Do we have any Shastra remain?
yes,
Just-
there's a book that's called Krishna Krida.
Krida. 64.
One of the 64 arts and sciences is called Krishna Krida. I'll
so
send
we
you a copy.
consider the 64 art like plague. for
Playing,
example, is
mentioned it.
the word Krida means to play. So, so there's a whole science in terms of authorized playing or Krishna's games. Games, wow.
There is
It's like everyone likes the idea of games, but the word games has become perverted
perverted.
in modern.
Xbox.
Yeah.
It
Is
is a
it
famous
available, that
instance
book?
in.
Huh?
Is it available? That
Yes,
Yes.
Krishna
I have it.
Krida. I'll send you a copy.
Yeah, please.
Yes, and you can get a hard copy also.
There is this famous instance in Mahabharata when the Kauravas and Pandavas they were playing as children.
They were what?
They were playing,
Playing, yeah,
and their ball fell
Ah,
inside a wall,
yeah.
and then they're struggling to take the ball out, and Dronacharya appears.
Right.
And then how he takes out at different. But the point is that children
Right.
play.
Yes. Playing is very important. I mean, ask any child.
Right.
Ask any children. What do you mean no play? Yeah, right.
Yes, go on.
Prahlad Maharaj?
Some exception.
It is mentioned that Prahlad Maharaj did not play useless games. I forget the exact words, but Prabhupada mentions he did not waste time playing. Playing means, in this context, I would say, things that are not useful. Now he may also, as an exceptional boy,
Yes.
been fixed up in such a way that he did not need that kind of medium. In other words, majority of boys, it's natural that they will play, but they're meant to play certain games that help them develop in different ways. But we see in some exceptional cases that, which is like Prahlad Maharaj, because he was already just already developed in that consciousness. In other words, for most young boys, they need this Krishna,
Right.
what is described in the book Krishna Krita, these types of games to develop that higher consciousness. Because it's a whole interaction that takes place when boys play in a natural setting with boys of their own age, or it might be, slightly older or slightly, as described also in the Krishna book.
One another exception is Narad Muni in his previous life when his mother died out of snake bite,
Ah,
and there is a verse in Bhagavatam which says that the child was not interested in frivolous
ah,
games,
yes, yes, yes,
which is very fact that is mentioned just indicates it is expected the child will be engaged in some
yes,
playing and
yes.
other
Well,
things.
it's like who in our Vedic history, who did took sannyas at the age of 7? I mean,
Recent history?
not recently. I'm talking
Oh,
Shankar.
Shankar
Shankaracharya.
Madhvacharya at
And there is
12,
this
I think.
Swaminarayan sect. They have their founder
Nilkant.
Nilkant. He also, at a young age of 7, just left home and
Right.
traveled all across India.
Yeah. I mean, that's, to say the least, unusual.
Yes.
Very unusual. Yeah. So, in other words, most young boys should play, need to play, but it should be proper, not yeah.
Playing kirtan also again.
Yes,
Kirtan, there is
Yeah.
also again.
And,
yes,
and means they are playing with Krishna
Rath Yatra
and
also
like
again.
a pujaris, like they are playing with
yes,
deities.
yes. Yeah, there's all kinds of plays. I mean, Nityananda Prabhu was
Yeah, he
expert,
was playing Ramayana
yeah,
and so many
and
other
then he left his body,
Mahabharata stories.
kind of, yeah, right. So there's all kinds of different ways of playing.
And children are mischievous.
Hmm?
Children means they will do some mischief also. We see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as a child. He used to go in Ganga. He would Brahmana is offering water. He would
Yeah.
put water in his mouth and then he would spit out on it. Right. So, never
Brahmana
been.
is endeavoring to become purified, and yeah, correct. Yeah. Wow, somebody's got a question here. Yes,
Not question, but
or
thought.
comment. Whatever.
As Prabhu mentioned that uh, Parshuram was the first to highlight that the Varna is based on birth only.
Yes.
And how do we harmonize this with the reference from Smritis like Manusmriti and different Shastras that mention that Varna is simply and only based on birth? Because I was recently studying a book, Varna Vidya,
Yeah.
and it mentions that actually Varna is more biological and less based on qualities because every body has a different kind of level, frequency, vibrations. It is explained in biological way, and it says that the Varna is actually biological, and it mentions actually that by quoting, I have notes, Vashishtha Dharma Sutra. It says that if someone wants to change Varna, in case if he is not able to run his life on his Varna in which he is born, then he can step down, not step upwards. But if someone wants to step upwards, that is mentioned as a sin. But if someone has the qualities, then he may pursue those qualities and he may nourish those qualities. But he will get that varna in the next life. Those qualities will be stored in his karana sharir, and then he will get that body in the next life. so that he can execute his those qualities.
Yes,
I can attempt to answer the first question.
right?
Let me clarify. Parsuram did not establish that as a philosophical fact that Varna is only by birth, but he set a precedent wherein he said that though I am, born in a family of a Brahmana, I have, and he had Kshatriya qualities, still he claimed to be a Brahmana.
Hmm.
So he gave more importance to his birth, though he had qualities of a Kshatriya. So that set a precedent which was then misused by others that followed him and said, hey, Parsuram did it, so that we are going to follow that, right? So not that he established that as a philosophical fact. So just
Yeah.
clarification.
Also, maybe to add to this, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur actually gives great importance to birth.
But yes,
Yeah, we were just discussing this point the other day. Is that he gives great importance, and we should also give great importance to birth. But it is, if we go by, the often quoted verse of Chaturvarna Maya system, guna karma. It is the varna is based on the natural qualities and the ability to actually work, guna and karma, the activities of an individual. So, although the birth is very important,
influential in
yeah, it is not always the case. It is not. It is not. We could put it this way: it is not absolute.
Yes.
But that is not to minimize the importance, which sometimes maybe is minimized, of uh, of being born, within a particular family, and generally uh, assuming or taking the qualities as per that particular birth.
So
There,
in the 11th canto, actually there's a verse which says Janma Karma. That is, the Janma is also emphasized. Bhagavad Gita says Guna Karma. Bhagavatam 11th canto, 3rd chapter, I think it's
Janma
46
karma.
verse, Janma Karma is also. But here not in an absolute sense, but your birth is influential in driving the gunas, because after birth,
Yes.
one is surrounded by people of the family, and that's what the samskaras they will get. That's the gunas they will inculcate from.
Yeah.
So Janma is a instrumental cause in acquiring the gunas.
Yeah. It's well, it's still very much, I would say, a debatable topic. Let's say in the context of Indian culture, uh, especially because there are these schools of thought that are totally it's only by birth. Forget about everything else. Uh, and it's good to discuss actually because it helps to bring out different aspects or elements of both sides.
In the same book, this is little bit different point, but it mentions from Vedant Sutra commentary, Govinda Bhashya. He quotes, the author quotes Govinda Bhashya, and in there it is mentioned that Govind Bhashya in Baldev Vidyabhushan says that a person born in a Shudra Varna, that the birth is actually his first birth in human body. He says that. That is also called baby soul, translated in English.
Baby soul,
Yes. That is the
interesting
first,
term.
that is the first birth of that person in human body. And if he starts following his duties, occupational duties, then he will gradually go upwards. There are many like this different references. This is very interesting book actually.
What's the title of the book?
Varna Vidya,
Varna Vidya by
Sinu Joseph.
who?
Sinu Joseph.
Who's that?
Some Malayali, I
Yes.
guess.
No. Yes. Yes. This is
Malayali.
this is actually based on very very thorough study of Dharma Shastras. There is a book called The History of Dharma Shastras.
Okay. Yes.
16,000 pages study.
Only.
Very very detailed book.
Okay. Interesting. You can send me that reference later.
Yes.
Okay. Jai Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jai Sri Prabhupada ki, Gaur Pimanandi.